You're listening to the Lux Life Discovered podcast, where we talk with people who are living a lifestyle that reflects their passion, because we believe everyone should be living their best life, their Lux Life. The show is hosted by Rick Steiner with Steiner Event Group, a premier national event planning company, and co-hosted by Shannon Richmond, the Vice President of the Panama City Beach Chamber of Commerce. If you are watching on YouTube, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell to get notifications of future episodes. The show is produced by 30A Media and is broadcast on your favorite podcast outlets, as well as YouTube, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TVs, and other major brand smart TVs.
Hello, I'm Rick Steiner. Welcome to Lux Life Discovered. My guest today is Melissa Weber with the Thirsty Ranch. So, Melissa, we're glad to have you today.
Thank you for having me.
I tell you, it's been as an event planner, dealing with so many different vendors in the wedding industry and getting to know people. You and your husband have been two of my favorite because you guys are so much fun. And so it's just, you're always energetic. You're always happy. You always got to have a smile on your face. So it just makes it much easier. So welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you. Thank you. That's sweet. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. So the Thirsty Ranch. First of all, how did you come up with the name?
Honestly, I have no idea. It just came to me. It was honestly just that organic. It just happened.
Okay.
I do have horses and we do have a farm, but it really just came to me that organically to call it the Thirsty Ranch.
Well, it's a perfect name. And it's a mobile bar service.
Yes.
And so how did you have a bartending background? How did it even evolve?
So I have never been a bartender in my whole life.
Okay.
I've never bartended or worked in restaurant hospitality or any of that. So it was just sheer the universe telling me to do this. That's how it happened. My daughter got married, and so we needed a horse trailer bar because I had a horse trailer bar booked for her wedding. Another business who's still around in town. And it didn't quite work out. There were definitely some missed opportunities there. So we decided to not risk the big day. And so my husband was like, just find me a trailer and I'll build it. And so I was like, okay. So I found a trailer and he built this fabulous horse trailer bar for her wedding. And we just hired a bartender for the night to bartend out of it. But
didn't have any idea about it being a future business.
I did not. I was completely taken aback and wasn't trying to start a business or have a business or quit the career that I had for the last 18 years. So it was definitely a complete 180 that I guess just the universe had other plans. And so
right. I know 3 or 4 families in Arkansas who some of the best venues in Arkansas now are a result of building them for the daughter's wedding.
I have heard that.
They've added to it, and now there's some of the top booked venues in that area. And then they get into what? I thought,
what did we do?
What have we done? Yeah, so.
You know why that happens? At least I feel from my perspective is it's the love of the business. You love the way I started this was just the mother of a bride. And so that's my perspective on all of our weddings and all of our events. Really, I see it through those eyes.
So it helps you when you meet with a client to discuss a proposal.
Yes.
You're able to see it from their perspective because that's how it started.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. It really helps you to come in with that mindset. And that's how I started, not necessarily, thinking I'm going to be in the event business and start a bartending job. It wasn't.
You would have talked yourself out of it.
I probably would have, or I would have done what most business owners and entrepreneurs do, and that's research. Right. So I have learned by the skin of my, teeth just to learn. I've just been out there learning and growing, but here kind of in front of everybody to see. So all the other vendors get to see that, I'm growing and learning as I go. So, and they're very supportive.
Well, you've done a fantastic job. So how do you get your bartenders? Because your bartenders are great. They're very personal, and you really You must have a good screening process because you get some of the best.
I kind of rely on the bartender, like the bartenders refer other bartenders. So early on, um, our business is so customer service driven that I can teach somebody how to bartend. The actual making of the drink is honestly the easy part, but I can't teach somebody how to. I can teach somebody how to give that good customer experience, but people have to be. They're very. It's all personality, right? So it's not necessarily the bartending per se. I can teach them that, but I really just meet somebody anywhere I go. If I meet somebody and they have a great personality and they're like, oh, that sounds like fun. So I'm like, well, then I hire them. Well, then they'll end up referring a friend of theirs that this friend of mine would be really good at it. And I'm like, oh, let me meet her. And so,
Or him.
well, or him. We do have some hymns. We do have some
We're not going to
hymns.
exclude the male bartender.
No, that is true. That is true. I do have a bartender who has a really good background, him, in event bartending, and so he is old school bartender, knows how to make a good drink, but also has that experience in event bartending because that is different than bar bartending.
Right.
So I have learned, but it's the personality.
Okay, in your planning when you're meeting with brides or whether it's for a corporate event, do you ever run into the issue, which is what I've run into dealing with couples lately, is the number of bartenders for an
yes.
event? Because my couples always think they need 3 more than what they actually need. You know, they want to make sure nobody waits in line. So how do you, I mean, simple things like that, I'd say simple, but like with things like that, how do you deal with that to make sure you have enough bartenders with you for an event?
So
And I know there's a typical rule of thumb, but
there
still.
is a typical rule of thumb. However, we tend to base it on the guest count and the menu. I can do 100 people with 2 signature cocktails with 1 bartender, but if they want mixer packages and then they want coffee service brought in at 9 o'clock at night and we transition to other things, you can't do that with 1 person.
Right.
Even if it's the same guest count. So a lot of times it just depends on the service that they want for the evening. And I run into the opposite problem of you. I run into the problem where they just want 1 bartender because it costs money to just keep adding. So they think, well, I only need 1. No, you don't. You need 4. You need 4 because
I wish we could get the same client. Then.
I
So,
know. We aren't quite matching up on that just yet, but we will. Because that creates the guest experience and it creates the customer experience. And so I tell all of my brides that, no, you don't need 1. You need 3 or you need 4 because you don't want your guests waiting in line for 20 minutes for a beverage. Your guests come here to socialize and to spend time with you. And they don't want to stand in line waiting on a drink. So usually if I explain that to them, they understand.
I did a corporate event. Christmas party, and they were very specific about not having the employees wait for drinks. They wanted to make sure that enough bartenders. So they told the venue they wanted 3 bartenders, and they're like, "Well, we'll do 2." So they sent 2. One was the cash person, the other was a bartender.
Oh.
And within just a few minutes, they understood how many bartenders we needed, and they appeared.
Yeah, they appeared.
The client's paying for it. And if that's what they want and don't want lines, you have to listen to your client. So that, that was probably a little downfall with that event. But again, it was a venue issue. And because people don't want to wait. I mean, they're there to have fun. Like you said, it's a limited time and they're going to take advantage of it. So
Right. That's what we want them to do. And we hear that feedback from a lot of our customers at the bar and our clients that have used our services is how much they love the fact that there wasn't a line at the bar and that the drinks are ready, the drinks are rolling. If I see you coming, the drink's out.
You also do some unique concoctions, we'll say, but some good, like you, in addition to what they want though, but you on Instagram, on your your feeds and on your story, you'll post different recipes. And so do you come up with those yourself? Do you sample
Um,
those?
I do not sample any of our
Oh,
drinks. I know,
wow.
isn't that
Yeah.
strange? It is very strange, but I I don't know where it comes from. If it's just sent from the universe, I don't know. I'm just like, those sound good together. We're gonna do that.
And
And
it works. Yeah.
so it works. We've won some competitions we've been in. We've
Yeah.
had our margaritas are award winning twice now. So, and I don't know where it comes from. Don't ask me. I've had other bartenders ask me, "What's the recipe?" I'm like, "You really wouldn't believe me if I told you." It's not that complicated.
Or chocolate martinis on the menu.
Yes, I
Because
love chocolate
I know you
martini.
do.
I love a
We
chocolate
both do, yeah.
martini.
Well, I have a lady my preferred cake lady in Northwest Arkansas. She's been on all kind of contests on the Food Network and all of that. And we were doing a tasting one day, and I said, "What is your favorite?" She goes, "I'm like, what?" She goes, "I just make them and decorate them." She said, "I don't eat." Because I guess when you do it all the time, that would just be like, but of course, obviously, I would be eating the cake. So.
I would eat the cake too, but you're right. I mean, I've made so many drinks at this point, even though I don't bartend necessarily now at this point, I still give them the recipes to use for the events.
Right.
But no, I very seldom do I ever taste anything. Very seldom. I don't know how it comes to me, but it just comes to me and it works
Well,
out and the customers love it, the guests love it.
and that's what matters.
The bartenders try it and the bartenders are like, "This is really good." I don't know where it came from, but it's there.
Right, and then of course you said you have this a converted horse trailer that
Right.
your husband has completely gutted, and it looks sharp and amazing.
Thank you.
But you also have a mobile bar. If somebody didn't want the horse trailer, or if they needed something inside, yeah.
Right.
You have,
We have 2 horse trailers now that they do stay busy, but we also have other like smaller bar stations to use inside for those. Because and two, the horse trailer bar, as fabulous as it is, and we obviously love it, it's not for everybody's aesthetic.
right.
It doesn't fit every event, so we have other options, and we also just send bartenders out by themselves. We just because some venues have a station,
Right.
and they don't need one of our fabulous bar stations. So
Sure,
we just
yeah.
they just need a fabulous staff. So we send them out
Fabulous
there
staff,
too.
you can make fabulous drinks.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So in what areas do you cover? Because you're in Pensacola.
I am in Pensacola, but we cover the entire Gulf Coast. So we will do down Panama City area. We do all the way to Gulf Shores. We have done some events in northern Georgia. So we do travel. There obviously is a travel fee involved for that, but no,
Right.
we go all over. So
And you started the business, was it 2 years? No,
this is our third year.
third year, yeah.
Mhm.
What has been the biggest challenge so far?
My biggest challenge so far is I did not realize as a business owner how much I was going to have to grow and change, like me myself, to help the business grow and change. So that has really been it's been great and has been a great learning experience, and I have learned some fabulous things. But I didn't realize that as a business owner. So that's part of if I had known I was going to be a business owner, I would have been more researching and figuring some of this stuff out ahead of time. But now I'm learning and growing. But that's been a learning curve to have your business mentor tell you, hey, you need to get some books and you need to read some books and you need to do these things and chop. And so then it's like, oh okay.
I just wanted to do a bar service.
Yeah, like I didn't realize, but the business is growing and
Yeah.
changing. And so in order to do that, I have to keep growing
And
and
to stay
changing.
current, yeah. definitely.
Yes.
I know it's and then we're being in the event business, whether you're a planner or bar service, you got to be a little crazy. I mean, seriously, you do, and you have to be very flexible.
Flexible.
And, flexible is the one thing that I've learned the most because I'm not a patient person. I want things done, follow the guideline, the timeline especially, and all of that. And you can take that for some events and throw it out the window because the whole schedule may go wrong, the whole itinerary, and you just if you're not flexible, it can drive you and the guest crazy and the client, and you just have to bring it back in and think, it's not a big deal, we're only an hour off, it's okay. No, so
I would agree with that. I tend to I'm really good under pressure and I'm really good at problem solving. And so those were my strong suits all through my corporate career. I was always the problem solver and really good under pressure. And so being in the event business, I use those a lot.
that's good.
A lot. That's really has come in handy that stuff doesn't get me rattled and you just roll with it. And usually my husband gets the credit for all of that on site because, as you know, a lot of times he's my doer.
That's
He's
right.
my, honey, I need you to ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. And he's like, that man told me thank you so much for getting the job done. And he says, but he don't know it was you. I was just doing it.
You get your little plaque made. It's just like he's not.
He is my best unpaid employee.
Right. And he would agree with that.
Yes, he would. Yes, he would.
Oh gosh, what do you think has been your biggest reward from opening a business?
My biggest reward. I just went over this with my mentor the other day. My biggest reward from opening the business is how I affect my staff and being able to provide income and work and growth for some of them. And so I have found that extremely rewarding, and I wasn't anticipating that, but to bring on somebody and provide them a source of income that affects their lives, their kids' lives, their husbands' lives, and
Right.
that means so much to me, really, to be able to affect them that way. So
I like that.
yeah. I was kind of shocked by that myself, but
But isn't it amazing what you've learned? I mean, that
yes.
you learn so much about yourself that you didn't expect.
Right. You're right. I have learned a lot about myself, but that it still gets me choked up. Like if a bartender is like, "Thank you so much. Now I can get tires for my car," or something
Right.
like that. And
Right.
it's like, or somebody needs glasses and couldn't afford to get glasses necessarily. And so you realize how much impact you really have on your staff's life. And so they're
Sure.
just not.
Well, I think the reason you and I click so much, we're a lot alike in a lot of ways, in many ways. And like my business kind of fell in my lap as an opportunity that came along, and I jumped at the opportunity and took advantage of it, not in a bad way, but capitalized on the opportunity when it came. And then, if I had really thought about me doing this, I'm like you, I would have had to do a lot of research. I probably would have talked myself out of it, or the opportunity would have passed by the time I thought I was ready. And so it's really just being able to take advantage of when it comes. Not take advantage, that's not the right way, but you know what I'm saying.
Right. You have
But,
to jump when the emotion's hot.
Yeah, and then there's always that phrase, "Fake it till you make it." I don't like that because you can't fake it. You have to be able to do it. And,
Right.
but you've got to also be a risk taker and just kind of leave common sense to the side a little bit, because it's like normal people wouldn't do this sometimes.
That is true.
Yeah.
You definitely have to take a risk. And so, probably the last 6 or 8 months, I've really learned to just have faith. Like, I've been put on this path for a reason, whatever
Yeah.
that reason is. And so, I've tried to keep from talking myself out of certain things and just have faith that it's coming my way and I'm going to handle it and make it happen. So.
Right. Well, you've done a great job with it, and I'm so glad our paths crossed. I think we're the first time I don't even remember where the first time was that we met, but it was just like you and your husband. I just knew from the beginning y'all were just great.
I
So,
think
yeah.
I think Cherie probably put us together,
I think you're right.
I think she put us together and was like,
Yeah.
"You have to meet Rick. You would love Rick." And so
Yeah.
we were right. We've just clicked
Yeah.
and hit it off. And so you and Cherie and lots of other people in the event business have just been so welcoming and so supportive of the business. So it's really helped me.
All right, and then you do corporate events as well as weddings, private events. So
Yes.
Events at homes and the whole
We do
range.
all
Yeah.
of it. Most
So make sure people know that. So if they
Yeah.
have an event coming up, a wedding, private event, corporate event, Christmas party, whatever.
Yes, well, one of our most popular has been the corporate. We do some cocktail classes for like team building.
I'm glad you said. I was going to ask you about how's that
Yes,
going.
the cocktail classes are hot right now. We do a lot of them for bachelorette parties, which is still related to the weddings, but my corporate clients love it for their team building to get
So
the team together.
all right, tell people what it involves.
So we'll come and set up like an individual cocktail station for the whole team, and some of them at our charcuterie class also. We also do a charcuterie making class. And so we just have a fun event of teaching you how to make cocktails and teaching you how to make charcuterie boards or.
Are you not worried about your teaching a future competitor?
Mm-mm.
No, I'm just kidding.
I am not. I am not, because honestly, I have girls that reach out to me all the time. I've recently had one that actually she lives in my area, and she reached out recently about, I want to start the business. She's like, I bought a trailer. My husband made it for me. I got
Oh,
the
goodness.
thing. And so she's like, now I don't know what to do. And so, I mean, I gave her advice, and so told her, this is what you need to do. You need to call the county and the city and the state and da 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 da, and gave her the rundown. And she was definitely overwhelmed by the end of the conversation.
Oh, yeah.
And she did. I think she had a bartending background, and I remember her asking me at the end of the conversation. She's like, "Wow, I didn't realize what all was involved or what I still need to take care of." She's like, so when you started this business, at any point were you overwhelmed and nervous or scared when you realized? And I told her, absolutely not. I was not, because I'm somebody who, it's going to happen, hell or high water. Yeah. That's my mentality about everything, and I'm good under pressure and on a whim. So my advice to her was, if you don't love it now, you're not going to love it a year from now.
True.
Because this is only a tip. This is only the tip of the iceberg getting started. Yeah. When you're exhausted and you've got all these events ahead of you and still a backlog of stuff to take care of paperwork wise, if you don't love it now, you're not going to love it a year from now.
Because people don't see the late hours that we have to put in an event business, or the prep that goes into an event. No. They just see the fun part while you're there for 2 or 3 hours.
Right.
And they think it's glamorous. We're done. They're home in bed. We're still cleaning up, loading up.
Yes, unpacking. Yes, the packing and the unpacking and there's so many more hours that go into that 4 hours wedding service. That's the easy part.
Right.
Being on site and serving that's the easy.
Once you're on site, it's done. I mean, you're there, you're ready.
Right.
So and tearing down's easy. To me, that's the easiest part about an event, because it goes quicker. But setting up, the prep leading up to the setup, that's where you're.
That's where all the details need to be met to make sure that event goes off without a hitch, is all the prep ahead of time and all the setup. And so a lot of times I'm on site early in the morning to set up and to make sure it's all right. And then my bartenders usually arrive like an hour and a half out just to make sure their station's how they would like their station. But I'm usually there early in the morning getting it all set up and getting it right, getting it loaded in, to make sure it's right. Because if there's a hiccup, then there's time to do something about it.
I know some people will show up like, 2 hours before they're supposed to, and you're hoping they're ready and everything. They've done the prep, but sometimes they haven't. And I don't want to say this on the air. I'll tell you about an episode that happened.
Tell me over the espresso martini.
Because I love this lady, and she has made up for it many times over, and it wasn't her fault. But I don't want to say it and then look like it was her fault. So anyway, but so are you going to add more trailers, more bartenders? What's the plan for
probably not more trailers right now, because the mobile bar stations that we have, they are becoming extremely popular right now. And so they are saying book just as much as the trailers. I don't really have a need right now for that extra trailer. But I'm always looking to add new things. So the newest thing that we have started are setups for the bachelorette parties. So we go into the Airbnb and we decorate it. I have a girl who does balloons for me. And so I have another girl who does charcuterie for me, and we do cupcakes and cookies. And so we go in and get the Airbnbs decorated and ready.
So her bridal party comes, it's ready to go. Yeah.
Nice. And then we usually go back at some point over the weekend to do a cocktail class for all the girls. And But that has been new that
How's
we
it
have
gone
just
over?
started. It's gone over great.
I bet.
It's not on the website, so there's not a lot of advertising about it, but they're definitely booking it, just word of mouth.
Christy, did you hear that? It's not on the website yet.
It's not yet. I need to get her to put it on there. And also more information about the cocktail classes. There's not a lot of information on that yet. It's like
Christy will be all over it.
yes,
Yeah,
this
she will.
busy in the trenches right now to be able to get all the information put out for
Yeah.
what we're actually doing. So
Well, good. So we're going to put your information up, and it's got your Instagram, your
email.
yeah, and then
My
the
website.
yeah, phone number. So be sure to reach out to Melissa for anything you need for bartending. Like I said, whether it's a wedding, private event, corporate event, Christmas party, I vouch for her and the quality she brings to this. Also, she was at the SEG Spring Bridal Show at Hotel Effie last year, and she's one of our sponsors for the show this February. So you'll get to see her in person and meet her husband, the worker behind the theme.
Yes,
And,
he's my worker bee.
Yes. And he's a character on top of that.
He
So, yeah.
is.
My wife, I told her, I said, you have to go this year because we have a fun night before the actual bridal show
Yes.
visiting. So,
Yes.
yeah, it's
We
fun.
do.
Yeah. So anything you want to tell everybody before we finish the podcast?
Well, I look forward to talking to you guys. Call if you have any kind of event that you would like planned. Call us and me and Rick put it together for you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. This is fun. I know you were nervous about
I was
doing this, but it wasn't as bad. I told you. So, but thank you for joining us today. That concludes another episode of Lux Life Discovered. Be sure to follow us on YouTube and subscribe and tell everyone about Lux Life Discovered.
Check out Lux Life Discovered on Facebook and Instagram and on 30a.tv. See you next time on Lux Life Discovered.